All right, it says we're live. Live. And that's exciting. So, yeah, I've got to fix something. Okay, good. Anyway, today I wanted to talk about something fun, and that is, I wanted to talk about the idea of complaining. So we have been indoctrinated that complaining is an effective and powerful tool. What is a complaint? Well, you know, when you get something you don't like, you complain. We might complain about the weather. We might complain about food in a restaurant. We might complain about service we got or didn't get. Joy, my beautiful angel wife, she sold something on eBay the other day, and it was a beautiful dish, an antique kind of dish, and the person that was getting it was really excited and said all kinds of wonderful things before they got it. And then when they got it, they thought that the color was slightly off. I can't remember if Joy described it as red because that's what it looked like to her, and this person thought it was orange, or I don't know. But anyway, there was some difference. So Joy said, okay, you know, send it back. We'll give your money back. And instead, this person lodged a complaint and then became vicious on eBay. You know, vicious and defrauding and this overpriced mayonnaise dish and just all kinds of things. And I don't know how this works because I haven't done a lot of stuff on eBay, but the person ended up getting their money back and keeping the dish and lodging a terrible, 0 stars or whatever against Joy. Now, there you go, right? That doesn't really say anything about the antique dish. It doesn't say anything about Joy, but it sure says a lot about that individual. So I want to, and I don't know them, and it's just an example of how cankered we get when we live in the land of complaint. So let's explore what I've discovered are a couple of real alternatives that are more powerful. I got an email this morning from a good friend of mine, Christopher Doris, and if you're not on his list, you should get there. It's fun. He talked about how complaining makes us stupid. It is an unintelligent response. And he isn't saying that to be negative or to grind on you or me or anyone. He's saying it because complaining, the act of complaining, creates a cascade of neurotransmitters in us that is the antithesis of creativity, the antithesis of growth, the opposite of all those good things. So it's exactly right. Complaining makes us stupid. So what could we do instead? Well, there's two possibilities. One is there are situations where if you have something happens that you don't want, lady gets a dish or the food in the restaurant isn't hot or whatever it is, right? Or someone says something or does something that isn't what you thought. You didn't, want that. It's not expected. Or someone at work doesn't treat you well or whatever, right? Those are things where, there's something we can actually do about it. Something can change. So that's one pile of stuff. So what do you do? Well, here's my suggestion. Never complain again in your life. I challenge you. Never do that again in your life. Do what instead? Make a request. This complaint request distinction, and there's a whole bunch of reasons, and we'll talk through those, was something I think I first heard in a mastermind that I was in with Steve Chandler, who wrote his a friend and a mentor and has written more books than me. I've written 20 and he's got like 40. So I don't know that I'll ever catch up, or do I care? But anyway, one of the things he talked about was the distinction between a complaint and a request. A complaint is a venting of negative emotion, and we somehow expect the universe to understand what we want, or the person we're complaining at, to understand what we want and do whatever it is they need to do to fix it. It's more effective both from a neurotransmitter point of view in your heart and from an emotional and relationship point of view to make a request. Just make a request. So the challenge for you here is to evaluate every circumstance where you might have wanted to make a complaint and instead make a request. I have found, my discovery is, it works wonders. Instead of saying, la, 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 creating that negative emotion, because you and I both know, as soon as someone feels attacked, belittled, minimized, or anything negative, we quit listening. We start defending, all that negative stuff happens, and then communication stops and results stop. So instead, you could say, and I do this, and it works. This is not just some theoretical mumbo jumbo. I say, this is what I see. I see X. And then I just ask for what I want. I have a request. Could we do this? Could I get another dish here? I'm noticing this dish is cold. Not, you're stupid, cook. None of that energy. You guys. All that creates defensiveness and almost never solves the problem. Or if it does, it's over a bunch of negative feelings and, the stuff that doesn't move anybody forward or make anybody feel good. So never make a complaint again. Never, ever, 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 ever. I challenge you. And you know what I'd invite you to do? Reach out and tell me what happens. KellenFlukigerMedia.com is the URL on the screen, KellenFlukigerMedia.com. There's some contact information there, so go there, get a hold of me. I would really like to know what happens as you try this. Requests instead of complaints. It works in partnerships, it works with your spouse, it works with people in a store, it works all the time. Now, I'm not saying everyone, every time, always will be amenable to your request. But if they're not amenable or willing to listen to you if you make a request, hey, could I have this instead? You know for sure what would happen if you launched into the complaint, because the complaint on both sides brings a cascade of negative emotion, and negative emotion almost never solves a problem. And even if it does, even if you yell and scream or emotionally yell and scream, and the manager comes and you get it all fixed, nobody feels good afterwards. If you simply make a request and the person says, I can't authorize that, I've got to talk to somebody. Oh, okay. Could you please do that for me? It's just a request. And they either will or they won't. But then it never has to happen that there's this upheaval. All right. So that's thing number one. Area number one is things where you can make a difference or something can actually change. The other pile of stuff is things that can't change, like the weather. If it's cold, like we noticed that last night was the first below freezing day we've had as we now move toward winter. Now, I'm in Edmonton, Alberta, so that is the frozen north, and we expect a million of those days, but we noticed at breakfast that it was -2 Celsius, which is about 28 Fahrenheit this morning, and so that was the first negative number that we'd seen this season. And so I could complain about that. Oh, it's going to be cold. Oh, it's going to suck. Oh, the roads are going to be bad. Oh, the snow, it hasn't snowed yet, but da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And obviously that complaint isn't going to change anything. But you know what it does? It creates a negative cascade of emotion in me and in any and everyone else that was around me. So instead, since I can't make a request of the weather or of something that just happened. I got an illness. Would you please, instead choose gratitude. Again, you may not be grateful for the thing that happened that you don't want. We'll work on that one very last. But find 5 things that you are grateful for. It is minus temperature, and I'm grateful we've got a house with good heating and it's warm. I'm grateful that I got good clothes and I don't have to freeze. And those are true things of gratitude. Again, it causes the same thing. The negative neurotransmitters don't come. The positive ones do, and it reminds me that there's all kinds of positive things that I am truly grateful for. Now, I don't know about you, but when my body is feeling gratitude, I'm way happier, more creative, and all kinds of good stuff happens that doesn't happen when I'm feeling bitchy. Now, third and last is this weird idea that maybe we can be grateful. Maybe it is possible to be grateful for things we don't want. What? Yeah, think about that for a sec, okay? Think something happens, I don't want it. So what if I choose to say, I wonder what awesomeness can be created from this place? This is not what I expected, not what I was asking for. And curiosity, I wonder. So I challenge you to do those things. Requests instead of complaints when there's people or situations involved where something can actually happen. Number 2, when there's not something that can change, then choose gratitude instead. And number 3, actually explore what awesomeness can be created from the unintended or undesired circumstance. Now, instead of just hearing this, Kellen said a bunch of weird crap this morning. Instead of that, I invite you to try it really, and I invite you to connect with me. Again, KellenFlukigerMedia.com. Reach out. There's some connection places, or do it on social or wherever, and tell me what you experienced, because my experience with it has been positive, growth-oriented, fun. It makes me happier. It actually makes me some money, too, in my business. And if you want to talk about how that happens, let me know. I love you. You're amazing people. You're amazing, because you wouldn't be watching this if you weren't interested in creating the best version of you. You're awesome. We'll see you tomorrow.